Alright, what is up my dudes? In today's video, I'm gonna just be showing you some of the things that I'm noticing and watching out for while I prepare for my first season of breeding Super Dwarf retics. Now I am in the snake room right now. I do need to clean some cages, so I'm probably just gonna set the camera up and talk while I'm cleaning. I'll also show you my mature female that I think is gonna cycle and what I'm seeing and why I think she's gonna cycle. So I did record some footage about a month ago. Let's see, actually I have it written down. Around 8:24, and today is October 2nd. So about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I thought that she was cycling, and based on the clutch that she laid last year from the previous owner, if you do the math on it, it would be right about the time that she's cycling. But that was in Oklahoma. Now she's in California. So barometric pressure, seasonal changes, weather, temperature, all those changes are a little bit different here. So it could definitely have an effect on her timing of her cycling. Apparently, normally, once you have a mature female that cycles, they will do it like religiously down to like the day, usually within a week of when they cycled before. So that's the beauty of a proven female. Is if you can get the data from the previous breeder, you can calculate stuff out down to like almost the day or within the week. But like I said, it's a completely different state, different climate. From Oklahoma to here is wildly different in weather and temperatures. So yeah, I'm gonna show you what I'm seeing with her right now. So like I said, it's cleaning day. Most people will not show you their cages, especially with retics, because dude, these things, you could literally clean it and in less than an hour they can have it destroyed. So that's another thing to expect if you plan on getting retics one day. They're such a heavy bodied snake and they're so active, they make a mess. So let's get on to what I'm seeing with her. I'm actually going to turn this light off so there's no glare. Alright, so here's what I'm noticing with her. This is the hot side, this is the cool side. And that was one of the first things that I noticed, is she always spends all her time on the hot side, and then she started spending more time over here on the cool side. Now their follicular development requires, from what I heard, I'm no expert, okay, this is just what I've learned, they typically want cooler body temperatures for when they're building follicles, so they will tend to start hugging the cool side. I think if their body temperature gets too hot, it can destroy the follicles or something along those lines. So that's why they'll start choosing the cool side. The other thing I noticed was, obviously she's a thick snake, so it's hard to tell if she's swelling or not, for me anyways, being a new breeder. But she was looking really thick back at the end of August, beginning of September. So I have some footage. Maybe I'll roll it for a second, but I did put the male that I plan on putting in here with her, which is the male. He's a mainland golden child, orange ghost stripe. You'll see him in the video when I put him in here with her. But I put him in there with her. She showed no interest. He showed no interest. She was peeing everywhere. She was tail wagging, just destroying her cage. They couldn't get far enough away from each other, it seemed like. And that went on for a full day or 2 days, and then I finally just kind of felt bad for both of them, and I took him out. And then she kind of went back over to the hot side. But also, I have been kind of feeding her too much, is what I've learned. And I'm thinking that she was looking so thick is because I was overfeeding her, and she just had a massive bowel movement that she needed to release. And I ended up soaking her in some warm water, like 84-degree water, for like 30 minutes in a big, large trash can, and she ended up going to the bathroom, and it was a big one. So now she's looking like normal size again since doing that, but she has since moved back over here to the cold side of the enclosure, and now, as you can see on here, like I was saying, I document everything. She shed on August 30th. I first put the male in around August 24th. Nothing happened. After that shed on August 30th, so their ovulations and follicular development, all that stuff is based on a shed cycle. So when she shed on 8:30, I was like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time. So I put the male back in there. Same thing, no interest. So then I just waited, and then end of September rolled around, and just for the heck of it, because I'm inexperienced and I didn't want to miss my window opportunity, I threw the male back in there again. And this time, same thing, there was no interest, but she did tail wag and pee like one time, but it was nothing like the first time. Like the first time she did that, I mean, she was just relentlessly peeing everywhere. So yeah, so she was just relentlessly peeing everywhere. Well, the third time at the end of September when I put him in, she did pee, but barely. And after about, so I put him in the daytime. By that night, she had settled over on the cool side of the enclosure where she is now, and he actually finally ended up settling in next to her, and they were actually like in contact with each other, and he was cuddled up on top of her. I did not record any of that. I might have a picture or two, but I was like, that's a good sign. So I left him in for 3 days, and for most of the day he would be coiled up right next to her. She never moved. At night he would do his rounds around the enclosure, but then when he was done around like 1 or 2 in the morning, he would go back over and cuddle with her again. So I was like, that's a good sign. He didn't arch or do anything like that. No crazy breeding behavior at all, but he did go over, and he chose every time to stay with her instead of the opposite end of the enclosure. So I was like, okay, that's a good sign. The next thing I'm looking for, from what I've been told, okay, some people say their females don't go off food, not always anyways, and some people say every time their females go off food. I only get my information from 2 sources. It's disrespectful if you have a mentor to go and ask 10 other people, so I don't do that. I have 2 people that I consider mentors, and they are the only 2 people that I go to for information when I have questions. And one of them says that a lot of the times, almost every time, his females go off food, and the other guy says that he has females that eat all the way through ovulation, becoming gravid, all the way up to laying eggs, no problem. They stay on food the whole time. So, and I've heard that from other stories and posts and stuff too. So going off of food is not a guaranteed indicator, or it's not guaranteed that they're going to go off food. But if they do go off food, that is a pretty surefire sign, especially if you're in the right season. That's a pretty surefire sign that she's cycling. The reason they do that, from my understanding, again, I'm no expert, I'm not teaching anybody anything, I'm just showing you my observations and what I've learned. When they eat, they're having to allocate resources like energy expenditure, the thermogenic process of breaking down food. It creates heat in their body. All that energy is going toward digesting food. Whereas when they're building follicles, their body, their hormones are telling them that they need to save that energy, that instead of using it to digest food and to hunt, to save that energy for building follicles, because the whole reproductive cycle on the female is really taxing. Also, if they eat a large meal, they might be stealing resources like blood flow and things of that nature, or they might be seeking heat to help digest, and those things can possibly be counterproductive to follicle development. So If she doesn't take food, that's a really good sign that she's building follicles, especially if you have a girl that's a really good eater, which they're retics. They eat like crazy. Like I said, I've been overfeeding her unknowingly. I've been feeding her like sometimes every week, sometimes every 10 days, and not small meals either. Not huge, but not small. Like sometimes, 5-6 pound rabbits, sometimes a couple pound pigs, stuff like that. So what I did on, you probably can't see this, but on 9/30, so I believe 2 or 3 days ago, I offered her a jumbo rat, which is a tiny meal for her. She could easily eat like 5 jumbo rats. I offered her jumbo rat, just not because she needed to eat, but just to see what she would do. And that was 11 days since her last meal. So I just wanted to offer it to her and see what happens. And lo and behold, she was sitting right where she's sitting right now. And if you have retics or know anything about retics, literally you can't even open the glass with, like, you even moving toward the cage, they start biting at the glass. They start biting at anything that moves. She didn't do that this time. When I was defrosting the rats, she did lift her head up, and I was like, okay, well, she knows I'm defrosting food. We're cooked. She's definitely gonna take this meal. But that's all she did. Then I opened the glass and she didn't move. Normally I'm scared to open that cage because she's already at the corner waiting, and if I don't have the food ready, well, guess what? Now you got a 10-foot snake coming out of the cage looking for food, and they don't just go for the food, they go for anything that moves. So it can become a dangerous situation. So like I said, I'm normally scared to open the cage. This time I was able to open it. So I opened it and she just sat there. I stick the rat in. She didn't grab it. I'm like, that's weird. Maybe I could pop that footage up because I have it on my phone. Then I start bumping the rat on her, and she just starts bucking it with her coils, pushing the rat away. And I'm like, oh my God, she's not going to take it. This is awesome. I sat there and bump, kept bumping her with the rat. And finally, I don't want to exaggerate, but maybe after like the 10th or so bump with the rat, she moves her head over, strikes it, and grabs it. And it was like not gentle. She didn't just go over and just open her mouth and take it. She struck it and grabbed it. But compared to her normal food response, it was insanely slow. So I'm thinking that's her telling me, all right, I'm about to go off food. And oh my gosh, fingers crossed if she does that, game over. I think it's her cycling. Another indicator for me is you could see I run ambient because it's just working for me right now, and based on the weather outside, like, why run an AC unit and stuff if I don't have to? What I did was I insulated, I'm in like a 8x8 or so, I'd have to measure, but it's probably about, okay, well that's 8 feet, that's 8 feet, so it's about 10 by 8 room. I just insulated it with this foam, it's like a foam, I think it's 3/4 inch or 1 inch foam. I just boxed off an area in my garage with that stuff. I think it looks kind of cool too. It looks like the inside of a fridge or a freezer. Yeah, I just insulated it, and then all through the summer, the highest it's gotten here is 84. So when it's 84 in here, I don't even run heat pads or nothing. And I keep this fan on all the time, so it's always circulating the air, so I'm not getting, heat spots toward the ceiling. Helps just keep the whole room a really nice even temperature. Obviously the floor is going to be a bit cooler than the rest, but that's fine. That's why I have the 2 that I'm getting ready to breed on the floor, so I can have, sometimes the floor will only be 80, 81, and I can have a hot spot on the other side. That way if they want the heat, they can grab it. But the perfect thing is now, look, it's 81 in here in the middle of the daytime, but the floor is 78. So that's perfect. At night it drops down to like 78, so the floor gets down to like 75 at nighttime. again, that's perfect because they're feeling those nighttime drops, especially the snakes that are on the floor. Now, the males, if you have them too hot, you can ruin their sperm. You can make their sperm infertile or weird things like that. It's just, apparently their sperm is better if they're cooled down a little bit. So that's why he has always been on the floor. And he doesn't have heat right now. I'm gonna run it like this for a couple weeks until I know for sure he has locked with her and gotten the job done. Then after that, I will give him his heat back. Same with her, I'll give her her heat back. I don't wanna risk them getting RIs. So right now, it's just for the sole purpose of cooling his sperm down and her follicle development down. After that, they'll both get their heat again. But where was I going with that? Oh, so the room is perfect temperature for everything, in my opinion. So, so between I think what I was getting at is between the room temperatures falling at night and being generally a bit lower in the daytime, them not having their heat source, her going off of food, and the other one last thing that I've noticed is she shed on 8:30, and you can't tell right now because she's hiding her face, but her eyes are completely glazed over right now. She's deep in blue, so she's going into another shed cycle again already, and it's only October 2nd. So it's only been 33 days since her last shed. That's unusual for a snake that size. So she's not in a growth phase, you know what I mean? So there's really no reason for her to shed. So I think she's doing some kind of pre-ovulation shed or something along those lines. Again, I'm no expert, I'm just speculating, and these are things that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna clean up these cages, and then I think the male's going back in there. I'm not sure. I might wait till after she sheds or until after I offer her one more meal and see what she does with it. So we'll take those steps for now, and then we will go from there. I'm gonna keep this video short. I'm gonna cut it right here. I'm gonna keep making updates as my season progresses, just to keep you guys informed on what's going on, because I'm super excited about it. Seriously, nothing fires me up more than these Super Dwarf retics, man. They're the coolest snakes. I love them so much. I hope that shows in my videos. I've never been so excited about a species before. Obviously, I do love a lot of other species, but for what we're legally allowed to keep in California, and me having kids, this is the species that does it for me for right now. I like hots, I like rattlesnakes and other stuff. I don't want to keep rattlesnakes being a dad unless I had like a really secure outbuilding or garage or something that my kids didn't have access to. Then I would reconsider having rattlesnakes. I also like false water cobras, but they're really a nasty snake. I mean, these retics are nasty, but false water cobras are next level nasty. They just destroy everything and they smear their poop everywhere. So that's another really cool species that I love. But for me, at this day and age in my life, these Super Dwarf retics, they check all the boxes for me. They're big, they're kind of crazy, but also once you get them out of the cage, they're really cool and they're super chill and they climb all over you and they're really interactive and they're beautiful. They come in a million different colors, a million different localities. Like, there is nothing not to love about these snakes, except for, you know, they do require a lot of food and they poop and pee a lot, but other than that, these snakes are great. This is her. She's my little pure Calatoa. She's 3.5 years old and she is beautiful. She's going in the shed. And I'll get some videos of her out in the sunlight, but she is such a gorgeous snake. I love Super Dwarf wild types. They're so sick. And then we got my 50% Super Dwarf, 100% het pied, and he's also platinum. This beautiful dude right here, such a sick snake. I love him. This is produced by Brian Watkins at Hell Creek. So he's 50% Calatoa, 100% het pied, and he's a platinum. So I'm gonna make some platypide babies with him. Some Super Dwarf platypides. I guess I might as well show you what I'm doing for cleaning too. So I pull all their water bowls, I pull all their paper, and I go stick them in a tote. Sometimes I also put water in the tote so they can get a little soak, take a little bath. Then in here I have half brown Listerine, half water. The reason I use the Listerine, it's like 99% alcohol. It cleans everything really well, but it also has that nice minty smell. It helps get rid of the musky ammonia smell of retic piss. And I just, while they're out there soaking, I just spray this down everywhere. If you got vision cages, make sure you get up in these corners and everything. And I just let it sit for a minute. Like you can see, the glass is all wet on this one. That one's already soaking. So I'll do that to all the cages, and I just let it, you can't just spray and wipe immediately. Like alcohol and peroxide and F10, all these things have a kill time. You gotta let it dwell for a bit. So while they're soaking, I let that do that. While the cleaner is working, I go out and I clean water bowls. I have Dawn, a stiff bristle scrub brush, and a garden hose outside. Scrub the water bowls out, hit them with some Dawn, scrub it again, get all the poop and stuff off of it, rinse it out really good, get all the Dawn out, and then fill it back up with fresh water. So there we go. There's one freshly cleaned cage. Let's go grab the pure Kalatoa girl and throw her back in here. Get in. There we go. She's getting big. Love that girl. Also, you gotta get you one of these little scrapers, because these urates do not come off by wiping them. You have to scrape them. It's so fun. Alright. There's her cage cleaned up. You might be thinking like, hey man, that's really minimalistic and and that's a really small water bowl. Well, guess what? I've had hides in here. I've had logs in here. I've had big concrete tubs and big totes for her to soak in. She thrashes the log around. It's a risk to breaking the glass. She flips concrete totes. The reason this bowl works so well, it doesn't hold that much water. The base is wider than the top, so when she goes over it, it doesn't tip over. If it's something that can tip over, these snakes are so powerful, they just tip it over. I don't care how big it is. I don't care how full of water it is, it'll spill everywhere. So that is one Haida. She's the brother of the platinum hetpied. She's also 50% Kalatoa hetpied. And her name is Juan Haida, the commander of death. Now the reason she doesn't have a hide is when I give her a hide, she stays in it. She doesn't come out and she goes to the bathroom in there. And it gets really nasty. So she doesn't push. She's a good girl, so she doesn't need a hide. She's confident. She's cool. She does fine without a hide. And like the other things I mentioned, she has a minimalistic enclosure because it's efficient and it's what works best for her. And it's my way of keeping her environment sterile and clean. Because as you saw before I cleaned, things get dirty quick. And if you got bedding, you're going to be switching out truckloads of bedding all the time, especially if you got 10 of these. So that's why I run paper. I buy this whole roll for like 35 bucks and it lasts me like a couple months, so it's way more economical and way more cleanly, way more sterile.
You can see the beautiful yellows of this platinum compared to the other ones.
So I'm gonna cut the video off right here. Thank you guys for watching, but stay tuned. Keep checking in with the breeding season, and we'll keep you guys posted. All right, see you on the next one. Peace.